How's it going, guys? My name is Matt and you're watching Merly Gaming. I'm going to show you the bunker rust design I used in the last wipe. I'm not sure when the video will come out, but I will at some point probably. So it's a 3x3 with options to automate and industrialize everything down in the bunker pretty easily and fairly. All you really need is a flat ground. So here goes. I'm going to start it from how you would do it if you were starting and you didn't have a lot of resources, because you can do this ground up. Alright, so it's going to be a 3x3 square design, so we definitely want to start with a corner. And since it's going to be a bunker, we want to go ahead and raise some foundations around it to start. And we can, for now, pretend those are the walls. And at this point you can either do a half wall or a full wall here. I'm going to just do half walls in this example. And this would be you're starting one by one with this design. You can put a wall here or here. Either's fine, because basically what we're going to do in the long run is expand this out like so and leave a gap in the center. Now I should also say, maybe I should have said earlier, this is a base where you don't have to do some weird gap shenanigans, so that's what I like about it. Those can often get confusing and hard to manage if things get destroyed. This one's pretty simple to manage if things get destroyed. But just keep in mind that we're going to be expanding out and doing these foundations all around, because this area is going to turn into the bunker. But for now, what we can do is just either place a door on this side or on this side. Let's place it there, and let's do the wall here. Ideally, you would not upgrade this wall too far before you started going on to the next part. Hopefully you have some farm ready and whatnot. Oh, I didn't mean to place that. Alright, so let's do some quick upgrading. Say you're starting out, so let's just go stone. And maybe you do this one wood. Let's just remove this. Because, you know, you're just starting out and you think, I'm going to soft side that maybe. That's something you do sometimes. Alright, you want a garage door here, or a stronger door is fine too. But you want your strongest door here, because this is going to be your core for now, right? Alright, so this is what your 1x1 looks like if you're starting this build. You can do this fully upgraded. It's just going to block you in your bunker later, potentially, but that's fine. You still got the other direction you can go around. Alright, so from here, get more resources, load up, have your TC in here, have some boxes in here. Now, something to keep in mind, this kind of threw me for a loop. These foundations, if you clip something into them as far as possible, it actually blocks upgrading them. It doesn't on this server, but on a real server, it will not let you upgrade these foundations. It will say upgrade blocked. So the point is, you can't just clip your TC in as deep as possible into these walls. So let me see if it'll do it. Let's go full deep here and then try to upgrade. It should say upgrade blocked. Yeah, there it is, upgrade blocked. So it does do it on the server. So you don't want to accidentally upgrade block these. That's the main thing when placing your TC. Boxes also do this upgrade block thing. So explaining a little additional stuff to make sure you guys don't run into bugs when you're doing this. Watch, same thing. It should say, yep, upgrade blocked. So keep that in mind. Don't tuck anything hard against any of the foundations in this build early on. Not until once they are your HQM or your final quality, then fine. Tuck as hard as you want, you know, get it in there. So I'll just go ahead and upgrade for the sake of that. But you might end up just doing something weird like this for this particular build to start, since you want to be able to upgrade those foundations later. Alright, so let's just keep that in mind. I guess if you wanted, you can't really do the triangle thing. I should mention that too. Like if you try, for example, you know, most people do something like this. Let me sec here. I'll just go, you know, to get that extra storage location there, and be like, upgrade it to whatever. And then you put this in the corner. With these foundations, this in the corner does not work. So unfortunately you can't do that. So that's kind of annoying, but really this is the only the spot where you're placing your TCs where you can't do that. So maybe a little unfortunate, but you might end up moving your TC in the bunker once you get further in the build. I know I guess I'm rambling a lot, but getting this start correct is very important. It will decimate you later if you mess this up, as I have learned from experience. Alright, so say you've got some money and you want to make this a real bunker all of a sudden. So as quickly as possible, you want to get these armored. These don't really matter, these floors, because people never see them. They still got to go through this armor first anyway. Even if they get in the bunker, they're not destroying the floors. So the floors can only, they don't need to be high qual necessarily once you get to building this. Alright, so let's continue to build. How would you go about turning this into a proper bunker? Because it's not a bunker yet, clearly. You have to decide where you want your bunker. You need it by raised foundations. You could do it right here, or we could loop around and go to the other side. It doesn't really matter, whatever works better for your terrain. But you do want to leave this spot empty. Keep that in mind. And we might also delete some more of these foundations to save on upkeep cost, depending on how the bunker goes. Alright, so let's just say we want to do it right here. We'll move the TC to the far side later. So what you do is you work with these foundations and you do a raised one around some lowered ones. So that's going to be the bunker location there, the stability bunker. And let's just go ahead and finish it off from here. Let's do a bunch of raised around it. This is how you would finalize it out. These ones are kind of optional, but you'll probably place them in eventually. These ones are not optional. So you want to upgrade these to your highest quality. It might just be sheet metal to kind of hide the fact of where it's at, because once you upgrade a few of these to armored, people are going to know. But you might have it around padding and stuff anyway, so they can't see it from the outside. Hope that all makes sense. We're going to upgrade this one to just sheet metal's fine, because they're going to still have to go through armored first. And here's the big trick. That's the seal. Alright, let's go ahead and build out the rest of this. We're doing half walls. You could do full walls if you want, it's fine. Alright, so at this point, you need a ceiling, of course. I'm gonna show you another trick. I did say this was fully automated and industrial down here, and you can pull from your bunker anytime. And the way we're gonna do that is with some gaps. And we'll do a floor frame there, right? And then we're gonna do some special walls here. You got to decide which side you want the industrial to come through, because obviously it doesn't go through these walls. Let's just do it on this side. So this is a spot for a refinery, because you can automate a refinery too. Refinery. Yeah, you can put an adapter on it and do all the stuff you need to do. I'm not going to go over that in this video. So on this part, you want to be able to get tubing through. So you do a high wall and a high wall. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You can put the low wall here and then run your piping down and through. Or you can put the low wall higher. Either works. Snap. There it goes. So that is where your tubing and wiring is going to go through. Now you might say, hey, you can't jump through that to finish the connection, so how are you going to get the connection continued? Well, you need something that extends. For wiring, you can do that with root combiners for your power sources coming in. You probably already know this if you're decent with electricity, but from the other side and this side, you could reach this. So you could plug in power from the outside and then have this go to your battery. Same for industrial stuff, except you just need combiners and splitters to do the extensions depending on what direction you're going. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself in this build, but I just want to make it clear early what's going on. So from either side of this low wall you can connect stuff. So that's how you can manage your connections and do everything else you need to do. So you can get power down here and you can get pipes down here, and it still requires another 15 rockets, is that what it is these days, to get through the armored. Because at this point, you want to make it a priority to armor everything. And of course, this is a bunker. You need a bed down here, or a bag, or something. Okay? Keep that in mind. Of course. Because that's how you get in your bunker. You spawn in it. And if you want to pull stuff out without doing it through the tubing, you should never have to break this in this build, because you can just do it through your tubing. So, but a normal bunker, of course, you get out by spawning and breaking that. Let's go ahead and get these upgraded. Basically want to go spawn down here, upgrade everything you can from the inside typically. These floors, I'm upgrading them for now, but you can save on upkeep costs if that's a concern by deleting some of them after upgrading everything else. I think that's everything. I think we're fully armored. You don't actually need this wall. That was the one from the starter. We can probably just delete that TC. So now we are in our bunker. There's only one way in. Let's get no clip here. That's what it looks like from the outside. So yeah, anywhere you want to break into this, it's going to take maximum rockets or explosives. Even the way where the industrial stuff's going through. I usually like to keep the low wall on the lower part, but just because it looks better and it's a little more hidden, but there is actually quite an advantage to doing it this way. Well, the last when I did this build, they destroyed that low wall, and I couldn't replace it properly because it was like, or they destroyed the half wall. I'll show you. So yeah, you probably want to do it up top because you have to build it right. If you want to do it the low way, you do it like this. But if they destroy that one and this one's still high wall or armored, you can't replace this one ever again. So your bunker's permanently broken if you do it that way and they break that one. So I think it is better to do the low wall up here because no matter what they break, you can replace it now. So they break that one, you just replace it. So they break that one, you just replace it. So definitely better to have it up top, even though it is a little bit more visible. So that's something I learned from experience because when I did the build, I did it the other way, and it didn't really matter because it was end of weight, but it's something to keep in mind. Alright, and this can just go to armored or sheet. I don't want to overspend too much here. Alright, so this is the bunker. You got that there. We also want hatch here. It doesn't really matter what direction. And this is the core. From here, you do what you want. You can, of course, you'll probably have a compound around this thing. You might do some fancy turret setups, external TCs, walls, and you'll build on top of this and pad it out. Now, it's kind of obvious where the bunker is because, see, this side's all filled out with triangles and the other sides are not. Now, that doesn't really matter because the raid cost is still the same. So this is really the maximum amount of high qual you need. It's about 900. I don't know if you can see it at the top right, but it's 893 high qual and about 2,000 wood. We've only spent 200 metal, barely any stone. So the big cost here is just about 900 high qual to get this 3x3 bunker set up. Probably worth it if you're rich. You know, if you got a couple rows of high qual and don't know what to do, you can slap down this bunker and have fun. Because it becomes pretty much unraidable. From here, we could say we're done with the bunker, but you got to think about how you're going to manage stuff. You're going to need to set up your industrial stuff down here, your electricity. It's really not that hard. I don't really want to put it in this video, but it just, the point of being able to make your connections through this, I guess I have to show that because actually that's a little tricky. Let's get a piping tool. It's harder with the piping than it is with the wiring, so I think we'll just show it with the piping and assume you can figure out the electricity. So there's a lot of times where you just need to pick up this hatch, right? Because you try to go down here and make these connections like this, it ain't happening. But the game does allow you to pick up the hatch. So you got to go hop down like this, and boom, you're in. You can start making connections. And once you got everything connected properly from this side, you F1 kill, spawn in this bed. Before you F1 kill, throw all your stuff in a drop box. The drop box will pull it down here. You spawn down here, you grab your pipe again that got pulled in through a drop box, and you start hooking stuff up again. So you can have everything down here. Your TC, your battery, your furnaces, all your boxes, all your storage, all your sorters. You don't need to expose anything on the outside of this other than the stuff you want to access. Like, even if they blow this thing down to only armored left, you can still just go rebuild, make a box, set it down, and, get your system back up. You can just reconnect everything. And, you know, raiders, the only thing they're going to get is this box. However, I'll show you another trick. Well, you lock this box. Whatever. Use a team lock for your own team. You lock this box, they have to break it, and it's not going to pull anything in anymore. So they'll only get what's currently in it. Let me just do a quick hookup here. This hookup's it gets very messy. But, see, there you go. That one would connect to your, you know, I don't know what to call it. I usually call it the out, because there's like an in and out to your main storage. You would connect this to your out, which is usually these ones. The ones that go to a bunch of different conveyors. So just pretend the other end of that is daisy chained into all your boxes. along with the standard daisy chain. You can now, and of course this needs powered, you can grab whatever you want from your storage by just filtering it. And how do you put it back? Well, you have another box. I usually use small boxes for these, but here's a large one. You put an adapter on it, and you have an internal sorter already. You have something that, or a combination of sorters that pull from this box, and this just goes to a drop, which is basically going to be one of these. I'll get it however. Let's see. Oh, I connected the wrong end of this. That's an in. We need the out. So your drop box is obviously an out, right? It's going out of the drop box. So it goes into here. And you can kind of finagle these around corners by just carefully going one step until it is at the edge where it turns to the other color. And there we go. That's ready for dropping. You just connect that other end of this. Right? I don't know how much of this I want to explain, but basically you connect the other end of this to splitters, like this one, and those splitters go to conveyors that sort things for you. And that's going to be all inputs on the box's daisy chain, and at the end of that daisy chain you out it to this one that can be a grabber. You default it to nothing or one thing, or just keep this turned off, but when you turn it on you can grab your stuff and you can drop it off. Alright, I feel like I'm over explaining that, or maybe I'm not. Maybe some of you will be confused by that whole industrial part. It does take some practice and getting used to. As you can see, this thing, the tubes go right through it. From a raider standpoint, they still got to go through armor to get through your main loop. I love this bunker. This is what I did in, well, I guess you'll see it eventually. It'll be the wipe where I was a vendor the whole time. It was such a good wipe, and no one could ever really deal with us or anything. But I guess I'll just show you some more advanced stuff here. Like usually you end up with something like this here after a bit, you got your bunker, you got to build around it. So you just do some metal, do a door here, probably an armored door, but this will work for now. And what I did in my wipe is I actually did an elevator in one of these areas and turn that elevator into a tower. So you can do that just like so. These pipes might block some stuff. No, they're not actually. Oh, they broke some stuff. Yeah, be aware of your piping. I mean, you can redo your piping if you need to, but obviously you can't place stuff on piping, walls. You can place doors on piping. So you got to keep that in mind. You might want to finish this build before doing all the industrial stuff. But you can just turn this into a big long shaft with doors going up that go to every floor with an elevator. That's what I did. I thought it was really cool. Of course, you don't have to do that. You can go with the traditional jump up style or stairs or whatever you want to do. But I just thought that was a really fun way to make it more modern. Just have a elevator going all the way up. And you'll see that whenever that video comes out, I'm sure. Assuming people are still interested in my channel. Yeah. But, okay, that's just a quick example of what you would put on top of it. Just a little shell like that. I've totally forgotten this one for some reason. And this, whatever you want it to be. You could just do hatches or something. Or you could just keep it super simple and just be like, hey, man, we're just doing a stairwell this time. Stairs are kind of nice. This one will work. Come on, place. I don't know why it's not enough space. But it should normally place. It might just be this door. Yeah, it's the door. Weird. Okay, so however you want to do that, your way of going up your base. But essentially the point is you can turn this into a nice fortified tower. And, when they think they're finally in, they still got 15 more rockets because it's a bunker. So after they've dealt with everything. When we did this, we estimated it took somewhere around 50 rockets for them to get into our base. At the end, it might have been more. It might have been upwards of 70. I actually logged off, so I lost track. But yeah, you do what you want from here. You probably want to fill these out and honeycomb all this. And I want to show you something else cool as we're getting to the end. If anyone's still watching and wants some bonus stuff, because you've already got the main stuff. And my neighbors are yelling at each other. Hopefully that doesn't pick up on my mic. Alright. But yeah, those can be metal. It's still only 893 high qual. I guess I should show the upkeep cost. Let's slap this down and take a look. Upkeep is 136 high qual per 24 hours. That is pretty pricey. But if you've already got 900, 136 more is probably pretty easy. Okay, so there's another cool thing. Alright, so you can pad those all out. You can put walls around all this. You can turn these into buffer airlock zones, which you'll probably do over on your entry side. Probably make this some sort of airlock, right? Like maybe a zone to do a few more staging things. I think in mine, what I ended up doing was something like this on one side, except up higher. That's kind of awkward. I ended up putting a triangle hatch and just a hatch right here to get on top of the base. But, you know, you got options here. You could just do simple, straightforward honeycomb even. Or you could do a second entry like this and have a double airlock to get into the entry floor. The problem with this is they have access to the armor right here, so they could one door and then armor and minimize their rocket spend. So I usually don't like to have doors on this lower part because it just makes it a lot cheaper to raid. So what I would probably do is just honeycomb this out. Do something like this. I'm not going to reverse all these. Okay. So that's the bunker entry right there, right? So we want to leave that some kind of access, but actually, you know, with this build and the way you've got a way to pipe things in and out, you don't actually ever need to break this. So it's actually optional. You could just close it off and never use it in soft side metal if you really have to. I didn't have to use it a single time in our wipe due to this industrial stuff taking care of that. But I guess the point is you want to have some kind of way to get to it. And so what you could put there, you could kind of disguise this, you know. You could do like furnaces or a few boxes, and people aren't going to be any wiser. They're just going to be like, okay, it's just a little furnace area, right? No need to break it. And if you have to break it, sure, you got to break these furnaces, but it does add to the disguise. So something like that would kind of hide the fact that it's the bunker entry. But ultimately, once again, it doesn't really matter if they know what the bunker entry, where it is. It's still the same cost to raid that too. I don't know. This is kind of a weird thing. So maybe it depends on your design. You could do like some, you know, some lookout areas. You could make these turret things, whatever you want to do over here. The entry can be tricky to get right though. Usually you don't want to have a lower entry. That's my theory anyway. I think the more I have a lower entry, the more I get rated. But let's just pseudo honeycomb this for now. Not worrying about the rotations too much. You're probably going to do this with stone anyway, right? But metal's fine too. So if they look at this, someone running up to this, they're probably just going to see honeycomb, metal, stone. They won't know it's a bunker. You want to hide all this armor. That'll also keep it from decaying if you run out of upkeep. And another cool thing is you get these nice squares on the end, and they actually make for good little turrets. You can make like many towers on each of these squares after your honeycomb, and they make little great one-off turret towers. At least that's what I kind of ended up doing. Because you don't need to honeycomb those really. Just having them in place is good enough. You don't want people soft side them though, so it's nice to build up on them on these here. But they do also add to the hidden armor factor. Yep, and that's what you would do next. You can do them on either side, depending on which side you want the square to be on. If you've got, you know, this armor has got to be exposed, I think. Wait, can we downgrade this? So generally you want all the exposed parts to be the same so they don't necessarily know it's a bunker. Because the thing is, if they know it's a bunker, they're not going to raid. They'll just leave you alone, basically. That's what generally happened. Alright, well I've got the squares kind of awkward. Normally you would do them symmetrical, but that's up to you. That's different on each side, but that actually looks kind of cool too. You know, that would work. But you just keep building from here. You go where you want from here. You should be pretty unraidable. Once you have turrets and walls up, definitely just so much effort to raid you. The only way we got raided is we basically had to beg to get raided. We went the entire wipe not getting raided, and it was a busy server. One attempt was made, but they didn't really get in the bunker or anything. What was I saying? I don't know. But this is very versatile. That's another thing that's really kind of important to note, is there's a lot of versatility here. Once you get that base 3x3 down, you can do whatever you want from there, and it's all dandy. Oh, don't fall in these though, that sucks. Definitely gonna need some ladders when you're doing this stuff in game for real. But this is basically what I did. I did something along the lines of this. Not exactly, but then with this, you could put it over there. This became kind of a nice second floor. I didn't case in the second floor because it was so expensive. I just ended up going up with a tower, kind of something like this. I think I had some doors. I had like a door here. Oh. Doors and all those. So you could make these two alternating stairs. That's often kind of nice to do. You go up this, you go up this, and you go up this, and you just keep circling until you get to the top of the base. There might be a better way of doing it. It might be kind of nice with the L stairs somehow. But with this way, you can airlock the way down, and it's going to be really expensive for raiders to get in here. The whole way airlock down. Elevators are a little less secure, but if they break the elevator, then they have to have a bunch of ladders to go up your base. So they're not necessarily worse. I often just, when I use these stairs, I don't know, do you guys do this? You just leave these wood or thatch so that raiders accidentally break them and then have no way of getting up and down your base. You know, explosives or anything will break the thatch. But when you're in here, you can just be like, oh, I need a stair. Put a stair. I'm getting way off topic and on to other points. The bunker is well complete. If anyone's still watching, I appreciate you. Hopefully I could provide some final useful tips after showing the bunker. But yeah, that's it. Really, build this up as you want. Look out for that video if you want to see my entire build and how it went. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.